The words hit me like a punch straight to the chest. I froze in the doorway, my hand still resting on the knob, as if letting go of it might make everything disappear, or make it all real. Stop acting like we're married. I couldn't breathe. The coffee I had been holding trembled in my hand, spilling some onto the floor. Barely noticed. Couldn't. Her voice, sharp, cold, and unrecognizable, echoed in my skull. You don't get a say in where I go or who I'm with. She had never spoken to me like that before, not even on the worst of days. Not ever. I swallowed hard, trying to find the words that would make sense of this sudden chasm between us. Babe, what are you talking about? I managed, my voice trembling despite my effort to stay calm. She looked at me, her eyes hard, almost defiant. Don't pretend, Sam. I'm done answering to you. I'm done pretending this marriage means anything to you, or to me. I felt the ground shift under me. My hands gripped the doorframe. Pretending. Our marriage had been real to me, maybe too real. And now, in a single sentence, she had reduced everything to ashes. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years of shared apartments, shared bills, shared dreams. 7 years of laughter, arguments, quiet nights on the couch, and heated debates over whose turn it was to do the dishes. She had been my everything, my anchor, my home, and yet here she was, telling me I had no say, no claim, no stake in her life anymore. I didn't know it at the time, but that sentence was the warning shot. The prelude to everything that was about to unravel. I stayed silent for a long moment, watching her pace back and forth in the living room. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, and she glanced at it, her expression softening in a way that made my stomach twist. Not for me. For whoever was texting her. Babe, I said again, trying to steady my voice. I don't understand. Where are you going? Who are you with? She stopped pacing and looked at me like I had asked something absurd. Why do you need to know, Sam? Why do you care? You're not my boss. You're not my parent. You're not even relevant to my decisions anymore. My heart sank. I wanted to argue. I wanted to demand an explanation. But there was a coldness in her tone, a finality that made me pause. A week earlier, nothing had seemed wrong. She had kissed me goodbye in the morning, slipping into her coat with her usual smile, and whispered, "Don't wait up for me tonight." I had assumed it was just another late meeting at the office. She always had those. Always the busy, ambitious professional, juggling deadlines and projects, her hair in a perfect bun, her eyes bright with focus. I had loved that part of her. Admired it. Maybe too much. That evening I had stayed in, cooking dinner for us. A small, quiet thing, nothing fancy. When she didn't come home by 9, I called. No answer. Texted. No response. By midnight, panic had settled in my chest like a stone. I drove to her office, to the restaurant she sometimes went to with coworkers, to the friends she occasionally mentioned. Nothing. And then I saw the text. I'll never forget the way my hands shook as I held her phone in mine, fingers trembling, reading words that shouldn't have existed in my life. Not from her. Not ever. I can't wait to see you tonight. Last time was amazing. My vision blurred. I stumbled backward against the kitchen counter. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to see the name. But there it was, glowing on the screen, Jason. Jason, the guy from her office, the one she said was just a colleague. Friendly, professional, the kind of person you could laugh with over coffee but nothing more. I had met him once at a company barbecue, smiled, shook his hand. Never suspected. The betrayal didn't hit immediately. First came disbelief. Then confusion. Then a slow, burning ache in my chest that wouldn't go away. And now she stood in front of me, telling me I had no say. No say in her choices, in her life, in the man who wasn't me. The anger surged, hot and raw, but it was beneath a deeper layer, heartbreak. Pure aching heartbreak. Babe, tell me the truth, I whispered. Are you with him? Her laugh was bitter like acid. With him. You think this is just about him? It's about me. About me realizing I don't have to pretend anymore. Pretend to love you. Pretend to care about us. I wanted to scream, to break something, to shake her until she came back to me. But a part of me had already seen this coming. The way she avoided my eyes, the secretive texts, the subtle defensiveness whenever I asked where she was going. I had ignored it, convinced myself I was being paranoid. But now the mask had slipped. The following days were a blur. I moved out of our apartment, unable to stand being in the space where laughter and shared memories now felt like echoes of a lie. She didn't call, didn't check in. She barely even acknowledged my presence when I packed my things. But I couldn't walk away entirely. My mind spun constantly, replaying the moments, the tiny signs I had missed. Every coffee cup on the counter, every folded towel, every note she had left me in the early years now felt like a mocking reminder of the life I thought we had. One evening, desperate for clarity, I went to the cafe she frequented. Our cafe, once ours. I sat in the corner watching the door, pretending not to care, but I cared too much. And then I saw him. Jason. He was leaning across the table, whispering, laughing, touching her hand. My stomach turned. My throat ached. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to ask her why. Why she had thrown everything away. But I didn't. I just sat, numb, watching, feeling every shard of my heart crack further. Weeks passed. Life felt unreal, like I was moving through someone else's story. Friends asked how I was, and I lied. I told them I was fine, that we had drifted apart. But the truth was sharper, uglier. The truth was that the woman I had loved, who I had trusted more than anything, had chosen another man over me. And she had done it while hiding it in plain sight. I tried to focus on work, on small routines, anything to distract myself from the ache. But every time I saw her name or a message from her, or even a place we used to go together, it felt like someone was twisting a knife in my chest. And then came the final revelation. It was a Thursday morning. I had gone to her office under the pretense of returning some files she had left at home. I didn't plan to see her. I didn't plan to confront her. But when I arrived, the receptionist's hesitant glance told me everything I needed to know. She's in a meeting with Mr. Anderson, she said, her voice small, careful. I didn't wait. I pushed past her, heart pounding, and found her in a small conference room. Not with Jason. With another man, her boss. Not just friendly banter, not just a secret flirtation. A full-blown affair. Their closeness was obvious in the subtle touches, the lingering glances. And when she saw me, there was no guilt, no shame. Only a flash of irritation. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice clipped. I needed to see for myself," I stammered. Her boss looked uncomfortable. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I finally saw what I hadn't allowed myself to see before. Indifference. She wasn't hiding anymore because she didn't care. Not about me, not about us, not about the vows we had made. I left the building without another word. I drove aimlessly, feeling like a ghost in my own life. By the time I got home, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't beg. I couldn't plead. That woman, the woman I had loved, was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. And no amount of shouting, no amount of crying, no amount of pleading would bring her back. I packed the last of my things that night, leaving behind the apartment we had built together. Every photograph, every keepsake, every small reminder of us stayed behind. I didn't take them. Couldn't. Not with her in them. Not with her betrayal still so fresh. Weeks later I started rebuilding. Slowly. Painfully. Friends helped. Therapy helped. Writing helped. I tried to remind myself that I was more than the marriage, more than her, more than the heartbreak. But some nights, when the world was quiet, the memories came back, vivid and sharp. The laughter we had shared, the small touches, the whispers in the dark. They haunted me. And yet, there was a strange clarity in the aftermath. I realized that her words, the ones that had shattered me, had also freed me. "You don't get a say in where I go or who I'm with." She had cast me out. But in doing so, she had also removed the illusions. Pretense. The false sense of control. I was free too, if only I could grasp it. Months later, I ran into her at a mutual friend's gathering. She looked the same, impossibly polished, but the glow of our life together was gone. I felt a pang of something, regret maybe, or the echo of old love, but I didn't approach her. I didn't need closure. I had it already. The truth had been laid bare. I had survived it. I had endured it. And I had learned that some people are only capable of loving themselves, even when they claim to love you. I left that night with a quiet strength I hadn't known I possessed. Life stretched ahead, unknown but mine. And though the scars remained, they were no longer chains, they were proof. Proof that I had loved fully, deeply, and that I had survived betrayal. That I could survive anything. Her betrayal had shattered me, yes. But it had also taught me who I was without her, who I could be. And in that painful, lonely clarity, I finally understood something I hadn't when we were together. Love is never meant to be a prison. And the ones who truly love you will never ask you to live in chains. I never spoke to her again. I never confronted her. There was no dramatic showdown, no vindication, no fireworks. Just silence. And in that silence I found peace. The marriage was over. The betrayal had burned it all away. But I was still here, whole if battered. And that, I realized, was enough.